Let's bring you the latest on the war in Ukraine. Russia says it has detained 8 people in connection with Saturday's explosion on a key bridge linking Moscow to Crimea. Its security service says 5 of those held are Russians, while the others are Ukrainian and Armenian. Although Russia claims Kyiv was behind the attack, a Ukrainian official described the investigation as nonsense. The alleged findings follow a report of the killing of at least 7 people in an attack on a market in eastern Ukraine. And we'll have more details in this report.
Russia's Federal Security Service has said it has arrested 5 Russians and 3 citizens of Ukraine and Armenia in connection with the explosion on the Crimea bridge. The FSB accused Ukraine's military intelligence and its director of organizing the attack. These arrests came in the aftermath of strikes on different parts of Ukraine. Donetsk regional military head said the strike on Avdiivka took place at a busy time, adding that at least 8 people were injured. He advised all residents of the region, which is partly Russian-occupied, to evacuate. Elsewhere, 3 people, including a 6-year-old girl, were seriously injured by shelling in Nikopol, a Dnipro region. Ukraine's emergency ministry reported several S-300 missiles had fallen in and around Zaporizhzhia, with one destroying a residential building in the suburb. It said a family was pulled from the wreckage. Meanwhile, 5 explosions had been heard in Kherson, one of the largest cities under Russian occupation, while there were unconfirmed reports that the air defense system in the city had been activated. Ukraine's military said its troops were continuing their advance in the region, capturing another 5 settlements. The blast on the Crimea bridge was a powerful symbolic blow to Russia's President Vladimir Putin, who opened the bridge in 2018, 4 years after Russia's annexation of Crimea. President Putin called it an act of terrorism aimed at destroying a critically important piece of Russia's civil infrastructure. Russian forces retaliated on Monday with a wave of missile attacks across the country, including central Kyiv, killing 19 people. Following with more strikes on Tuesday, as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urged countries to hit Moscow with more sanctions in response to a new wave of terror. The calls came after he met the G7 group of nations for emergency virtual talks. NATO also said it would stand with Ukraine for as long as necessary, as ministers gather for 2 days of talks in Brussels. Separately, the International Atomic Energy Agency head, Rafael Grossi, tweeted that the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant had lost external power for the 2nd time in 5 days, and backup diesel generators had been started up. Moscow seized the massive facility in March, but kept on its Ukrainian staff. Both Ukraine and Russia accuse each other of repeatedly shelling the plant, amid global concerns that it could lead to a major radiation incident in Europe.